everybody, it's only from Pages and Ink, and I thought a change of scenery would help me to record this again because I got most of the way through and my computer froze and I had to start all over. So hopefully this will help. But today I will be doing my final video of the year, which is my top 10 favorite books of 2016 and a wrap up. But last year I did a year in review video where I I briefly discussed the books that I had read that year, where my goal was 100 books, by genre on different days. And I started to do that, and I realized that a couple books this year, or not a couple lists this year, were on the shorter side, and it felt weird to make long videos for the genres of more books and short videos for the other ones. It just felt like a very unbalanced day, like a very unbalanced week. So instead, I decided to just do my top 10, and then I will see you again for the new year, and hopefully I will be more consistent with my videos, fingers crossed, as well as my photos, but you guys don't follow that, it's just my Instagram and my Tumblr. Moving right along. So in the year 2016, my goal was 50 books, and I believe I am at 69 books. I'm either on 68, currently reading 69, or I finished 69 and I'm on 70, I don't remember. But I do know that I've met my goal. So I think for the following year, I am going to try to do 70. Because 100 was a lot. And with me hopefully starting my nursing classes in the fall, it's going to make for a very stressful fall. So if I fall behind, it's just going to be a pain to try to keep up. So hopefully 70 will be good. That way I can read most of the books at the beginning of the year and over the summer, where I will just be working, hopefully I will have the motivation to do. Moving on. So starting with the 10th book, I'm going to work up to number 1. I want you guys to try to guess what the number 1 book is. I don't know if you will be able to. There's a challenge there. But the reason I say that is because I have not posted a whole lot of book talks this year. Actually, very much lacking on the book talks, and I apologize for that. But hopefully maybe you follow me on Tumblr as well. And I do have Twitter, but I don't post really anything on it. Tumblr, and you'll be able to maybe guess, maybe see, or just based on how I have talked about certain books and videos. Anyway, so starting with number 10, we have Flawed by Cecilia A. Hearn, which looks so pretty without its dust jacket. It's actually a lot easier to carry, to hold, so I'm going to put that down there, and I'm going to hold this. If you don't know anything about this book, I believe I do have a book talk to that, and I will try to put it down below, but this book is about a girl named Celestine who is perfect in a society where perfection is preferred, alliteration. And she, she's living the perfect life. She has a rich, happy, influential, perfect family. She has a perfect boyfriend. She does very well in school. She has good friends. And, things are good for her. But in a fraction of the second, pretty much, her whole world gets turned upside down. In this society, flawed people are branded with an F, meaning flawed, for really anything that can be considered a flaw. If people steal, if they lie, if they cheat, if they have treasonous or impure thoughts, they're branded with an F. And those who help them can be branded flawed as well. So while Celestine is on the bus with her sister, she witnesses this old man who ends up being flawed course, she's like, nobody's helping this man, he's going to die on this bus, and sorry if I'm explaining. You know, I have to help him, but helping a flawed person means that she's flawed, and for a while she hesitates. And then, sorry, this is distracting or something. For a while she hesitates, and then finally she's just had enough. She's like, I cannot have this old man die on this bus, and I can't believe nobody's helping him. So she helps him, and it turns into this big thing, because she's, like I said, she was this perfect girl, and now she's considered flawed. And her world is just turned upside down. Nobody will talk to her, nobody will really look at her. There's a possibility of multiple brandings for. It's actually a very interesting story, and it's Cecilia Ahern wrote P.S. I Love You and Love Rosie, which are two very popular adult books, I believe. This is her debut YA book, and I really treat collection progresses. The character becomes more and more empowered. She learns to love herself, to be true to herself. She finds someone that loves her for who she is and would never change who she is, and would never, you know, lie about his feelings for her. And like I said, it's based on her life. And actually, Amanda and the person that she's currently with, they're like my OTP, and I really wish them nothing but happiness for just the fact that Amanda's a wonderful, wonderful person, and she has given me advice on quite a few things. But they're perfect. But I definitely recommend The Princess Saves Herself in this one, because it's really relatable, and if you're struggling with things in your life, if it's any of those things, reading the book might give you a sense of empowerment. You know, you're not feeling so alone, you know how to deal with it, things like that. It's a really good read, it's well written, and even the structure itself is actually pretty cool. So give that a read. Which I read in October for All Hallows Read. And this is one of those books where it had been around for a while, and I was like, I should read it. It sounds really good. I need to read this. And never got around to it. Then when I was up in Montana, I found it for a pretty good price and decided to pick it up. And I'm really glad I did. I need the other two books because it's a trilogy. Basically, if you don't know anything about this book, it's about a girl named Mara Dyer, which is actually an alias for her, who is the sole survivor of this accident which killed her friend. So she was the only one to survive it. And why or what happened, not even Mara. She can't remember. It's repressed in a way. But she's constantly being haunted by her friends who have died, and it kind of makes her seek therapy. She also changes schools, and she meets a boy named Noah at her new school, who she kind of connects with, but at the same time she's very wary of him because he's known for sleeping around and flirting with girls, and she's like, oh, he's just pulling my leg, I'm not going to take him seriously, but at the same time she kind of does. And he's actually a pretty cool dude, and probably a book crush of mine now. But basically what Mara goes through in this book is she's just trying to figure out if, she's really being haunted by, like, if it's her guilt, or if, she's trying to figure out what happened as well as kind of avoid it in the beginning. So she avoids it, and then she gets therapy and kind of starts to figure things out, and she realizes what happens, which I won't tell you. Read it, but it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Definitely should have read it sooner, and I really need the next one. So my birthday's coming up in April. I mean, if you guys want to there you go. The 7th book on my list is The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich. This book I also read in October, and this is a multimedia telling book. Like, it's told in different forms of media. So it's got video transcripts and sticky notes and diary entries and notes from therapy sessions between Caitlin, Carly, and the doctor that's in charge of their case, and photos, and yeah. So what this story is there's a girl named Carly who has an alter ego named Caitlin, and for a while they always figured that they were like two sides of the same coin, and not like different personalities inside somebody's head. And what happens is Carly starts to disappear at their last year I think it's their last year in the school. I believe that's correct. They're seniors. And it's also their last year at the psychiatric hospital where they have been going to deal with their multi-personality disorder thing. And so Carly starts to fade, and Caitlin's freaking out because Caitlin can't be without her. At the beginning of the book, it's revealed that there was a fire at a school which kills a couple of kids, and it's believed that Caitlin starts it, so I need to make sure that's in there before I get to it. So basically the story is Caitlin trying to get Carly back, figure out why she's gone, and as well as she kind of starts to figure out that she needs to let her go. And it's really well told, and I really want to read more of her work because it's creepy and interesting, and it involves different forms of storytelling, and I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it for Halloween, spooky, creepy reads. Coming in at number 6, I have The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa, which is about a girl named Allie who lives in this society ruled by vampires, which, people immediately go, vampires, it's another Twilight. Not even in the slightest. It's more of like The Walking Dead meets vampires, because it's got a lot of that survival storytelling. It's like a survival story, and not like a romance of vampires. It also kind of reminds me, if you've read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, it's kind of a similar thing, where there's this, not really a disease, but there's vampires, although I believe in The Coldest Girl in Cold Town it's a disease. But there are vampires in the city, and humans are there pretty much. They can be there voluntarily, or they kind of have to live by certain rules. And by be there voluntarily, I mean they're the people that give themselves to be food sources for the vampires. But anyway, so this book about a girl who is just trying to survive, and she and her group goes to get supplies, and something bad happens, which is they're attacked by these lower level vampires, which are more akin to zombies, hence the Walking Dead reference, or comparison. There's a couple parallels, like the scenery, the settings are very similar. There's a farmhouse type setting and city setting, and there's the long traveling, trying to find somewhere safe. And so, moving on. They're attacked, and she ends up being saved, but in order to be saved, she's turned into a vampire, so her vampire sire kind of teaches her how to not necessarily be a proper vampire, but pretty much how to survive is all he really teaches her. And at first, she's just kind of like, I'm not going to be this monster, I'm not going to drink blood, I'm not going to follow these rules. And she actually realizes very quickly that she needs to, or she can hurt a lot more people than just by being a vampire. At one point, she gets separated from her sire, and at first, I actually thought it was going to be, not Twilight, but like there's going to be something between them, but it's very obvious. It's like a master, or like a master apprentice type scenario, like master and apprentice. But anyway, so they get separated. She goes off to go to a different city because she wants to just be away from the city that she grew up in, because it's just full of bad memories, and she just wants to be away from vampires, and she wants to see if there are cities where that's at all possible. And she meets this group of wandering believers who believe in this place called Eden, which is a human haven away from all the vampires, where they're developing a cure. So she kind of joins them basically because she wants to see if Eden is even really a thing. She also has a very big connection with one of the boys in the group, and she also is kind of friends with like one of the little boys in the group. She saves him, and he kind of looks up to her. And the whole time she's hiding the fact that she's a vampire, while trying to be very careful about, so she doesn't hurt them. And that's pretty interesting. There's a lot of the traditional vampire lore where they can't be in the sunlight, and there's a really interesting idea about how there are times where she's out and there's nowhere she could hide. So instead of dying, which would kill the story, her sire actually teaches her to bury herself. So she digs a hole and then hides under the dirt, which is actually kind of cool in my opinion. There's the thing where they can't be waked until a certain period of time. They sleep like the dead. They cannot be woken. So she has to be careful about still being asleep when everybody else is awake. So she kind of, luckily for them, they sleep at night, or they sleep during the day and travel at night instead of traveling or sleeping at night and traveling during the day. But anyway. Yeah. So that's all I have to say. It's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those books, just like the Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, where I should have read it sooner. I do have a tendency to ramble. I'm pretty sure that if you were watching this, you have seen my other videos, you know that I ramble. So I ramble. It's just clear the air of that. Anyway, moving on. So coming in at number 5, I believe, is The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Curry, which is a Aladdin retelling with a twist where the genie is actually a girl who's kind of like a teenage girl in body, but she's thousands of years old. She's actually the last of her kind. Which I think in Aladdin, Genie is actually the last of his kind as well. But he's the last, I believe she's the last of her kind in that world. There's a separate, alternate world where all of the magical, where the genie live, pretty much. Or the djinn. But she is kind of, in a way, rescued by Aladdin from this fate that she finds herself in after being friends with this queen, and they're kind of, there's something happens between them, and she's kind of trapped in her bottle, or her lamp, for thousands of years, or hundreds of years. But Aladdin saves her, and he recruits her help, and she's also given the opportunity to be free of her lamp. But it means betraying somebody that's slowly becoming her friend, possibly even more, and that's Aladdin. And it's a really interesting retelling, and it follows the basic story, but there's also like female mercenaries led by a princess, and some pretty interesting plot twists and magical properties, and there's a little more to like the restrictions on wishes and where all the magic comes from. It's actually pretty cool to read. So I definitely recommend it if you're fans of retellings, of Aladdin, and then just of fantasy stories. Coming in at number 4, I have Queen of Shadows, which I read so early this year that I don't remember in great detail what happens. I do know like basic plot points, I do remember that. This book is very, very much a furthering of plot. There is not so much, I mean there's character interaction, but it's more of like moving the story forward and less of like a filler. Although I do remember writing somewhere that this was a filler because it was just full of stuff. But a lot of it is actually plot furthering. And there's a really big plot twist about the antagonist that I'm not really going to get into because it's a pretty big deal. This book has a lot more Men in Black beats, so if you have started the series or have at least gotten through Air of Fire and you're not sure about reading Queen of Shadows, do it. I have not yet read Empire of Storms. As you can see, it is not in my top 10 as it should be. Because what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the 6th book to be released next year. When that book releases next year, or like leading up to it, I'm going to do a read-along on Tumblr for Throne of Glass as a way to finish the series, and hopefully I'm going to have a lot more participants for that one than I did last year for my The Darkest Minds read-along, because there were like 3 people including me. So, anyway. I can't say too much about it because like I said, it is the 4th book in the series, and it's a lot of plot furthering, and I don't want to say too much without giving too much of it away, because there's a lot of things that lead up to this point, and a lot of things that, like, it's I almost want to say, like, this book itself is kind of the climax, but that's not entirely true. It has not disappointed me yet, and I really need to read Empire of Storms, but I'm going to do it next year, and I actually do not know what the 6th title is yet. I don't know if it's been released. I'm really excited to find out, though. Coming in at number 3, I have This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, which is the 2nd book of hers. I own the 2nd book of hers. I have tried to read, because I tried to read A Darker Shade of Magic, and have yet to complete it, but I did read and complete this, and I really enjoyed it. The, like, it's on the back here. The little song thingy is haunting and actually really, really cool. And I like the difference in the creatures that are in this book. I like how music has its own power in the story as well. And it's a really interesting, really cool story. And I think it's a duology. The 2nd cover is just as pretty, but in a prettier color, which is blue. And I'm really excited to see how it all kind of comes to an end, because like I said, I think it's a duology. But it follows a boy named August. August. It follows August and Kate. And Kate is the daughter of, he's like in charge of one side of the city, but he's also, if I remember correctly, he's kind of he's not the daughter of, like, the hunter of demons in this. That's not, there's a little confusion in my brain, between this and Shudder in that regard. But, the city is divided, and she is the daughter of, like, the mayor of one side, and he is the adopted son of the other side, and he is actually one of these creatures, these really powerful creatures, what does end up happening is they kind of get caught up in this attack, and they run. And they kind of realize that neither side is safe. They actually become pretty good friends, and I was like, is there going to be romance? And if you are not big on romance, this is good, because there is not romance between them. They just actually become really interesting allies. And they both kind of come to realize that neither side is really in the right in this situation. And it's really well written, and I really do need to read A Darker Shade of Magic, because I really liked how she wrote the Savage song, so I need to get on that. Coming in at number 2 is Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I was worried that I wouldn't like it because I have read the second series for some authors that I've really enjoyed, and they just weren't as strong as their first series. Like, I love The Darkest Minds, and I love Alexandra Bracken, but Passenger it kind of felt flat to me. It wasn't like my most hated or anything like that. It wasn't up to where The Darkest Minds was. It was still good, just not up there. So I was worried about not liking it, but I was very glad that I did. It's unfortunately a standalone, and I say unfortunately because it's so good, I want more of it, but because it is an origin story for the Red Queen, and it ends at the point pretty much where you see her come into the picture, and like the queen that we all know, there's not really room for that. So, like I just explained a little bit, it is an origin story for the Red Queen. It's about a girl named Catherine, whose biggest dream is just to be a baker for the Kingdom of Hearts. And, she wants to open up a storefront, but of course she's the daughter of I believe the daughter of a marquis. So she's a very rich, very wealthy, very influential family, and they want her to get married to somebody that she does not want to marry at all, and that would be the King of Hearts. So there goes her dreams about owning a bakery, but, you know, she is kind of slowly trying to get it to where maybe it won't happen. You know, she's kind of trying to deter the king without being rude, but she also doesn't want to disappoint her parents, so she's completely lost. And there's also this boy named Jess, who is this very mysterious, I say mysterious because he's dressed in all black, and he is very riddly in the beginning. You know, you're kind of staring at him trying to figure him out, but his story kind of unfolds as the story progresses. But his name is Jess, and he's the one that introduces Kath to the characters we love, like the March Hare and the Mad Hatter, and you actually find out where Cheshire Cat came from. He wasn't an original character in Hearts, and it shows basically how Kath ends up being the Red Queen. You know, so it's a really, really good story. It's an excellent retelling, and I definitely recommend it. So, were you guys able to figure out what the number 1 is? I didn't drop any hints or anything like I probably should have, but I have talked about this a lot, and if you follow me on Tumblr, I have reblogged a ton of fan art, and it is Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This book came out early this year, and for a good chunk of the year, this book was all I could think about, which sometimes kind of started sending me into a bit of a reading slump because I just wanted to reread it. It is not very, but there is quite a bit of naughtiness, erotica-wise in here, so if that makes you uncomfortable, I would either avoid it, which I would necessarily recommend because the plot, the story itself is excellent. So if you do want to read anyway, I would exercise caution when you read. If you get to a point where it starts to get kind of heated, just kind of skip a couple pages. But anyway, this story is a continuation of the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and in this, Feyre, I can't talk about it too much without giving away the ending of the first book, but basically Feyre is faced with a bit of a situation where she's just not happy, with how things turned out because things have changed from the first book. You know, she finds out a little bit more about the world of Prithian, where she now lives, and she's just trying to kind of figure out if everything is what she really wants, and she's kind of introduced to this whole new world, this whole new court, that she originally thought was kind of dark, and actually has a very light secret, or like it's a dark secret, but it's very good, it's very light, it's very happy. Sarah J. Maas is an excellent writer. It's okay if you can't get into her writing though, because there are people that don't. Not every writer is for everybody. There's always going to be something about some writer that people don't like, because there are people that don't like Sarah J. Maas' writing style and don't like her books, but I love both the Throne of Glass series and A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's so good. I recommend it. I would exercise caution with the erotica, because I know, especially for younger viewing audiences, I don't recommend it for them. But it's so good. When you're old enough, you can read it. Okay. Well, that is the top 10 books, starting at number 10 with Claude, and ending with the beautiful, wonderful, fantastic A Court of Mist and Fury. That's all I have for you guys for this year. I will see you guys next year, and I'm crossing my fingers and praying that 2017 is a better year for me, with my motivation and planning and trying to get videos out to you guys, as well as just like in everything. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and a happy holidays. If you don't celebrate anything over the winter, just hope you had a good weekend. Hope you stayed away from all the craziness that is last-minute Christmas shopping for people who do celebrate Christmas, and I hope people who celebrate Hanukkah have a continuously wonderful Hanukkah, because I believe it spans over a number of days, whereas Christmas is pretty much only one day, or two if you count Christmas Eve. And I will see you guys next year. Hope you guys have a great new year, and I hope 2017 is the best year of your life so far. And I love you guys. It means so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this year, and I apologize, and thank you for your patience with me and with me posting videos, and it means so much. And I've gotten some pretty positive comments on my videos lately, which actually does help to motivate me to keep making them. It's just the getting up to it part, I have to kind of push a little harder. But I love you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you in the new year, and let me know how this worked out, because you can see all my pretty bookish posters here. I don't know about the lighting, if it's really all that ideal. Just let me know, what did you guys get for presents? Maybe what were your favorite books? Do you agree with my list? Let me know in the comments down below. Any book review, book talk video that I have, I will try to post a link down below, and I will leave you guys alone. I'll try not to ramble any longer. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you next year, and I wish you happy reading.